People often joke about talking to themselves, but it's an important thing to do. Nobody knows you or your experiences better than you do, and nobody has more access to you than you do. Sometimes I'd like to get a little break from myself, but in truth, I also am the one most able to get through to me. For the past 6 months, I've had the same simple conversations with myself daily, sometimes multiple times a day. These little conversations help me stay on track for my big picture. I want to be moving forward, making progress, and doing what makes me happy and brings me joy. These 5 conversations which I use to talk to myself help me to do that. Because the road is not always straight or easy. Here's an example. I got a ticket in the mail the other day for driving through a toll road. It's a relatively new toll road and I'd never driven on it before. And here's the thing, there were no toll booths, no signs, and no options to get off the road. So I drove until my exit and got off. A month later, I got a ticket for a $2 toll and a $50 fine. I was furious and arguing in my head about having been cheated and wronged. I was upset about the money and about how unfair it was that there were no signs or booths. So I brought out my 5 conversations. The first one is to stop. Just stop. Okay, it's true that it's easier said than done, but I've learned a few tricks for getting it done. I've also learned that even though it's easier to say than do, it's important to say it. I need to tell myself to stop. In fact, telling myself to stop allows me to begin stopping. Vocalizing the word stop interrupts my thoughts for a moment. In this case, I said stop out loud, closed my eyes, and took 5 slow, deep breaths. I didn't really want to, I wanted to fume, but I knew from experience that stopping was better. Second, I tell myself where I'm stuck. In identifying that I'm stuck in my feelings, in this case, anger, unfairness, loss, and disappointment, I am able to separate myself from them. I deliberately use the phrase, I am stuck on anger and disappointment. Instead of being angry, I was stuck in that emotion. I know when I'm stuck, I can also get unstuck. When I am angry, it's harder to become not angry. Talking to myself in a conversation in which I pointed out that I'm stuck on anger helped prepare me for moving on. Thirdly, uncover what this is all about. This can be a tricky conversation. I got a ticket. Getting a ticket doesn't automatically lead to anger. Why was I angry? What was underneath that? When I looked at it, I remembered getting on that road knowing it was a toll road. There was a sign, and I had change in the car and was prepared to pay, but there were no toll booths. Nothing. So I assumed that I wasn't on a toll part of the road. I was only going a couple of exits. I was willing to pay, but there were no means for me to do so. Underneath my anger was a feeling of having been tricked. This brings me to my 4th point. Consider other possibilities. This can also be a hard conversation to have. While I was stuck on anger and feeling like I'd been tricked, I wanted to direct my anger at the Department of Transportation. Or anywhere, really, but I convinced myself to consider other possibilities. Just because I was considering them didn't mean I had to accept them. With that freedom, I considered that maybe I had driven through a toll booth. I knew that wasn't the case, so I considered that maybe they had another way to pay that I didn't know about. I looked up the road online and found that they use electronic tolling through EZ-Passes. If you don't have an EZ-Pass, which I don't, you get sent a bill for the amount of the toll plus a surcharge. It's okay to get stuck. The final conversation is to tell myself it's okay to have self-compassion. It's okay to get stuck on an emotion. It was okay that I was angry. It was okay that I felt tricked, even though I wasn't tricked. I just didn't know. Now I know. I'll either avoid that route, get an EZ-Pass, or at least go into it knowing what will happen. This time I didn't know, and that's okay. It's easy to remember these 5 conversations because the first letter of each one, stop, tell, uncover, consider, okay, spells out the acronym STUCK. Together, these conversations are a part of the STUCK method. Since learning it a few months ago, I have used it to have these conversations with myself every day. Through talking to myself, I find myself getting unstuck more and more quickly and easily with practice. Remember these conversations whenever you find yourself in a situation which gets you worried, angry, hurt, furious, or gives you any other negative emotion. It'll help you knock it off and put you back in control of your emotions. Live your best life today.